Hey guys, my name is Mihlali. So I just want to start off with a brief description of who I am before I start speaking to you guys. Did my undergrad in gender studies as well as psychology at UCT. And I also did my honors that side. And then I left and did my master's in psychology at Stellenbosch. UCT is much better, by the way. But anyway, so I spent quite a lot of time at this institution. And I remember feeling super, super keen to get out there and start making money and to be fully independent. It's really exciting, but it's also a really scary time, to be very honest with you. Cool. So there's so many uncertainties once you leave your studies behind, and that process comes with its own challenges, and quite frankly, it can be really overwhelming. So I'm here to chat to you a little bit about some of those challenges, a little bit about OfferZen, and hopefully a few tips that will help you and put your mind at ease when you dive straight into your job search. So I work at a startup tech company that has developed a platform that connects talented developers and other technical roles with great companies wanting to hire. The founders of OfferZen were involved in starting multiple tech companies such as Snapscan and Luno. During their involvement there, as well as spending some time in Silicon Valley, they found that hiring talented technical people was really hard and it was frustrating for the person trying to find a job and challenging for companies. So this is how OfferZen was born. Seeing that challenge made them want to sort of create a space that matches the high demand for individuals in the tech space with the rare species that you are. It's kind of like a job search Tinder if you really think about it, but more on that later. Cool. So once you finish that degree, you'll be out here feeling like this. Some of you will have the joys of feeling like that throughout the job search and will be met with minimal blockers along the way. Damn, the first company you interview with might even be the company of your dreams. But sadly, this is not the case for all of us, and the job search can have you feeling a little bit like this. P.S. You're not Michael Jordan in this gif, but hopefully this talk will get you feeling like Jordan rather than the other way around. So, the usual job search looks something like this. You leave varsity and it's a whole vibe. You're nervous, but you're psyched to get a job and to get paid. That excitement turns into worry around not having a job and what is to come. Your parents or your friends, or both, start putting pressure on you to do so. You end up putting together a CV without too much guidance, and then you start searching for online recruitment companies and you send it to them. Or you apply to the companies you already know directly. Then you wait forever for a response from them. And it's just pretty tiring having to repeat yourself, telling recruiters, HR departments about how much you love their company and how much you want to work for them. And maybe you hear from them, maybe you don't. It's all super stressful. You have no idea what you're going to do, and it feels super lonely and as if nothing will ever come right. And it can be really lonely doing this without someone to guide you throughout the process. And also working with the recruiter, they're in it for the commission, so they're incentivized with the money they get when you get hired. So they're trying to sell you into taking a job that might not be the best fit for you. So that can be quite daunting in and of itself, and you can doubt whether or not you're doing a process because you're feeling pressure or if it's actually right for you. Cool. So plain and simple, the job search can be brutal. So whilst our co-founders were in the US, they were thinking about all of these difficulties and wanted to find a way to really make a long-lasting impact in people's lives and bring excitement and relaxation to a really difficult time. And this is where OfferZen comes in, essentially. So OfferZen is a platform that connects candidates like you with prospective companies. You create a profile which describes who you are, what you're looking for next, types of roles you're keen on, as well as allowing you to really show off the skills that you've gained either through your studies, personal upskilling, or through work experience that you might have gained via internships. Your expected salary amount is visible here too, so that everyone is on the same page from the very beginning, and so as to avoid that awkward conversation at the end of the process. Once that profile is set up and you're visible to companies, companies who like what they see reach out to you in the form of an interview request, which has an upfront salary amount. You then decide who to interview with, and all we ask is that you communicate thoroughly throughout. So this is where the Tinder reference comes back in. The joy here is that companies come to you, so you know exactly who you're dealing with from the very beginning. And you know that they're interested in you. It takes away that thing of like, okay, cool, if I send in this application, am I going to hear back and is it going to work out? Yeah, and Tinder in the sense that they swipe right and you get a notification, and if you decide to continue, you swipe right and it's a match and it's nice. Cool. So we want you to be able to interact with great companies that you wouldn't have been able to hear about or even know to reach to. And how do you get them to reach out to you might be the question. So your profile. You really want to be as descriptive as possible here. It's probably one of the most important things throughout this job search because it gives company members an idea into who you are, the kinds of things that you're looking for, the things that are important to you, the types of tech that you're looking to work with. So you really want to drive it home in order to get the right opportunities for you and in order to minimize the possibility of you landing up in a place where you won't be happy. I know that this can be quite daunting, but don't worry, you aren't alone. You get a talent advisor to help you navigate all of this. So PS, hello to you guys that end up signing up to OfferZen and get assigned to me. I'll be your talent advisor and I'm super keen to get you winning. Cool. So what do we do? My colleagues and I will help you throughout your entire interview process. You know when you're in a different city that you've never been before and you desperately need to find an address, might be the McDonald's or just the grocery store, or you might be looking for someone's house, you usually whip out Google Maps, right? So I'm your Google Maps in this whole job search. We're here to help you with anything job search related, from setting up that profile in ways that accurately represent you, as well as prep for interviews and assessments, constantly being your sounding board and helping you with any roadblocks along the way, so as to make the entire process as easy as possible. And finally, offer negotiation if it ever comes to that. Essentially, anything you need that might be job search related, you've got it. We also pay the set salary every month, so we don't earn any commission off of a placement. So for us, the big win is you finding a job where you are happy and giving you an amazing experience of OfferZen. Cool. So I thought I might end off with a few tips. So the first one would be just think long term. You need to be super clear on what you want in your job search. Think long term if you need to, track back from there. For an example, if you want to be a team lead in the long term and you want to be a well-rounded dev who absolutely kills his or her work, your first job needs to be a place where you'll get mentorship. And you'll also be trusted to swim in the deep end with floaties so that you can grow. There are companies out there that will come in hot with salaries, as in the companies that will pay you. But keep in mind that you'll struggle to make your next move because you'll be earning top dollar for your years of experience. So it's important not to let that blind you. Always ask yourself, is this company going to allow me to grow? And can I see myself here long term? So earnings will come later. And even if you don't start off super high, if you make the right move for your career, you set yourself up to win bigger in the long term than you potentially would have by making a big money move that could potentially be detrimental to your growth. Cool. So I think this is super important. Your mental health is super important in the people you work with, and the environment play a big role in that. So make sure you really dig into that as you're interviewing. Ask questions around work-life balance, speak to current and even former employees, ask about the company's values in terms of staff, the type of work that you'll be doing, everything that's important to you. Listen to your gut throughout, and if there are any concerns, ask. By the time you get to offer stage, you need to know and be comfortable with what you're getting yourself into. Your job needs to kind of be like a long-term relationship, especially your first job. The last thing you want is to be a job hopper. So just like a relationship, do your due diligence and make sure the company is a match for you. Finally, be patient with yourself. Don't compare your journey with anyone else's. There will be curveballs. Speak to your talent advisor about any concerns and speak to friends and family. Job searching can really feel lonely, and it's super important to know that timing is absolutely everything. It may happen quickly, literally your first interview. Or you may need to be patient, but just trust that it will happen. Cool. That brings an end to my talk. But in true OfferZen fashion, we're giving away a swag pack. you'll get something like this. Well, we don't know exactly what it will be, but it might look as cool as what I'm currently wearing. To enter, either scan the QR code out here or go to the below link. You can also find the competition by going to the OfferZen social media pages, so LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Winners will be drawn by the end of the day and announced on social media. We'll reach out to you via email to get your details. And that brings an end to my talk.